Campus evacuated. Police are investigating a bomb threat at a Triangle school. What we're learning from that scene.
A breezy and cooler day today, and it's going to get colder. Wind temperatures dip back down into the 30s, and who could see patchy frost?
Family shooting. A City of Raleigh employee will be in court after police say she shot her uncle. The conflicting accounts of what led up to this shooting. Lunar flyby. The Artemis II is just hours away from making its closest pass of the moon. The next step in this mission and how it's inspiring a new generation of explorers.
And we begin with this story. Research Triangle Charter Academy was evacuated this morning over a bomb threat. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Laura Levine in for Renee Chu. Investigators issued the all clear less than 1 hour ago. WRAL's Carly Haynes is live right outside of the school on Ellis Road there. And Carly, a big disruption at the very start of the school day we're looking at here.
And Durham police have told us that the academy's administrators have decided to close the campus for the remainder of the day. It would have been the first normal day of instruction back from spring break. And a look at the parking lot in front of the school, we can see some cars have returned to the campus following that initial evacuation more than 4 hours ago. Looks a little different than what it did this morning. Sky 5 was flying above. You can see just no cars in the parking lot, and then some police officers lining the exit and the entrance of the campus. Now, those who were inside the building were moved about an 8-minute walk away to the parking lot in front of a Publix down the street. And that's where we saw some students getting picked up by their parents there. This all came about after Durham police say they received a bomb threat at the school at 7:41. That's right around morning drop off, where school would have started at 8 a.m. A bomb sniffing K-9 searched the campus, did not find a credible threat. Durham police told us they're still investigating this, but we do have some questions out here, such as whether there were any arrests here and whether or where this threat actually stemmed from. So we're going to bring you the latest on that as we continue to follow this story throughout the afternoon. Carly Haynes, WRAL News, live in Durham.
Carly, thank you. It's a cooler and breezy start to your week, but it only gets cooler. Meteorologist Kat Campbell tracking that frost threat by midweek.
Yes, I mean, that's pretty much right on par for our average last freeze of the season. I think you're going to be good to go if you want to start your planting this upcoming weekend. In the meantime, it's cooler today. If you're headed out to lunch, you may want an extra layer if you're planning on sitting outside, especially if it's in a shady spot. Otherwise, it really is nice outside. It's just a lot cooler than last week. Temperatures today reach about 67 in Raleigh, 66 in Wilson, and 68 degrees in Fayetteville. Town by town tonight, it's not going to be as cold as it is tomorrow night, but it's cold enough where I should warn you that you'll want a jacket. Temperatures are dipping back into the 40s. Tomorrow night into Wednesday morning, that is when we're going to have the risk of a frost. 38, so it's a marginal frost risk. We're kind of right on that border for the frost risk here in the Triangle. Unlikely for our southern cities that we would see a frost. It's really our northern counties that we're the most concerned with. Roxborough, possibly even a freeze. You're coming close enough where the areas in purple, we want you to prepare your plants and crops like it's a freeze. In the Triangle, it's a frost threat, and we're unlikely to really face any risk in our southern counties. Coming up, I'll have a closer look at when temperatures rebound, and we're talking much warmer temperatures returning.
All right, sounds good, Kat. We'll come back to you in just a bit. A City of Raleigh employee is in jail after a shooting yesterday afternoon. I'm talking about 48-year-old Magna Holloway. She's facing 3 charges in connection to shooting her uncle, and this includes assault with a deadly weapon causing serious injury. WRAL's Sean Gallagher is downtown where Holloway is expected to make her first court appearance. Kind of walk us through a little bit about what we know so far about this, Sean.
Well, Chris, I confirmed this morning with the City of Raleigh that Holloway started working with them in January as an engineer, but right now she is behind bars awaiting that first appearance later this afternoon. But this is what we know about the shooting itself. Police were called to the home in Wake Forest just before 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon, and when they arrived, there was a man outside who was shot in the foot, though he did refuse to go to the hospital. Holloway was taken into custody after about a half-hour standoff with police. WRAL's breaking news tracker was on the scene as family members gave conflicting reports of what happened. The uncle saying there was an argument between him and Holloway that led to him being shot in the foot, though other family members deny his account of what happened. Here's what it sounded like on Broadcastify radio traffic as law enforcement prepared to take her into custody.
At the door, watching the door. female suspect decides that she will come out, I'm telling her to come out with her hands up. No weapons. She said the weapons are put away in the closet. She's currently on the second floor. She says that the only other person that was in the house with her is the victim. So y'all let me know when you're ready. I'll have her come to the door.
Now, Holloway was taken into custody without incident from there. Now, she has held engineering positions in Raleigh, Wake Forest, and Charlotte, and she has no criminal record in the state of North Carolina, but right now she is being held with no bond. In Raleigh, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
Sean, thank you. Now to the sad news we have to report this noon, a story that I will admit brought me to tears this morning. Miss North Carolina 2024, Carrie Everett, has died at the age of just 22. Her family confirmed this morning that she died Easter Sunday, surrounded by loved ones after a courageous battle with a rare and aggressive gastric cancer. She was a beloved figure, inspired many with her talent and grace after being the first Miss North Carolina to attend an HBCU. The Seattle native was crowned in June of 2024 during her sophomore year at NCCU and had dreams of becoming a gospel singer. In my first interview with her there on campus, she shared her passion to inspire the next generation.
I don't even just want to be a part of service, I want to lead service for young people. And I want them to see that you should and can be involved wherever you go.
Her family says memorial services will be shared at a later date. They are asking for continued prayers at this time. You can find all of my interviews with Carrie on WRAL.com. The WRAL Doc Unit, meanwhile, did investigate the shocking increase in cancer trends among young people in North Carolina. We hear from patients, doctors, and researchers about possible causes from environmental to ultra-processed foods. You can watch Diagnosis Young, the new face of cancer in North Carolina, on WRAL's YouTube channel.
Well, happening now in the WRAL Live Center, we are closely monitoring the Artemis II mission for astronauts, including NC State alum Christina Koch. Less than an hour ago, NASA releasing this first image of the lunar surface, the dark side of the moon, if you will. This is the first time the human eyes will be witnessing the dark side of the moon when the Artemis II flies by the moon at about 2 o'clock this afternoon, our time. Of course, we'll be monitoring it very closely here on WRAL.
I basically just hit refresh on their social media channels for quite some time. Thank you, Ken. Actually, in less than 3 hours, as he was kind of talking about, the Artemis II crew will make their closest approach to the moon, and they're going to swing around the far side. And with the current lighting conditions, they will see views that were in darkness during the Apollo missions. And during the flyby, the Orion crew will be in radio silence for about 40 minutes. But as NBC's Tom Costello reports, that's not unusual.
This morning, countdown to the far side. The Orion crew sending back this one last look at Earth as they spent Easter speeding towards the moon in deep space.
It's a time of emotions such as joy, as well as solemnness.
On Sunday, all 4 astronauts donned their pressurized orange crew survival suits.
We are fully suited.
A critical test in the event of a future decompression emergency. But their entire 252,000-mile journey to the moon has all been building to today. At 2:45 p.m. Eastern, Orion will be flying 4,000 to 6,000 miles above the lunar surface, giving astronauts the widest, best view ever to photograph the far side of the moon. For 7 hours, the crew will work in pairs taking photos. At 7:02 p.m., the crew will make their closest approach to the moon. At 7:07, they'll be the farthest from Earth. At 8:35, the moon will eclipse the sun. And by 9:20, the flyby is over. Later today, when the Orion crew passes around the far side of the moon, Mission Control will lose contact. 40 minutes of radio silence. But the crew and Mission Control insist temporarily losing contact is not unusual and nothing to worry about.
Hey, Tom, it's great to hear your voice all the way up here, 155,000 nautical miles from Earth.
On Saturday, we talked to the entire crew with the moon on their horizon. What are your emotions as you look back at Mother Earth?
You know, right away, you are humbled. The fact that 4 of us get to be out here just brings you to your knees.
Sonny Williams, who spent 286 days stuck in space, says this Orion test flight is critical.
Test missions are needed just to make sure we really understand all the systems. You can put everything together on the ground, but really not know exactly how things are going to work in that environment.
And the hope is for them to also better understand what it's going to do in terms of deep space exposure to the human body. And the team is expected to return to Earth this Friday with a splashdown in the Pacific Ocean.
New at noon now, Iran's state-run news agency says Tehran rejected the latest ceasefire proposal and wants a permanent end to the war.
Yeah, we're talking about this. Kind of a last-ditch push from mediators working to end the war, and a White House official says President Donald Trump has not signed off on that agreement. He is threatening to destroy Iranian power plants and other infrastructures tomorrow unless Iran reopens the Strait of Hormuz by tomorrow night. And the president will hold a news conference with the members of the military at the White House, and this is this afternoon at 1, about 51 minutes away from that. He also spoke about the war with Iran at a White House Easter egg roll. And he reiterated that 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow is the deadline for the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. Well, Savannah Guthrie returned to the Today Show today, and it was her first appearance in the studio since January 30th. That's 2 days before her mother, Nancy, was reported missing. Cheering fans stood outside on this morning, and they just had so many heartwarming signs. Some included pictures of her mother, Nancy. Savannah was welcomed with open arms by her coworkers who expressed their love for her. And the day began with her bubbly voice welcoming viewers to the show.
Welcome to Today on this Monday morning. We are so glad you started your week with us, and it is good to be home.
Yes, it is good to have you back at home.
Well, here we go. Ready or not, let's do the news.
Yes, so good to have you back. All right.
It was clearly a somber tone, but also a happy one because their friend is back. On Easter Sunday, Savannah Guthrie reaffirmed her Christian faith in an Easter video message from a church in New York. She said, quote, "I still believe, and so I say with conviction, Happy Easter."
I love how they're all wearing yellow, too.
Yeah, to show their support for her. Well, your time right now is 12:10. Next at noon, juvie joyride arrests.
Yeah, what we know about 3 reportedly stolen cars, including a chase that ended in a crash in Raleigh. Plus, Rays return to Tropicana Field. A look at the glow up for the ballpark 2 years after a hurricane destroyed the roof.
And nicotine poisoning in children. What's replacing traditional tobacco as the leading cause of this poisoning in kids?
Coming up next, see storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000. Sponsored by the WRAL Weather app. Download now for live radar.
Welcome back. You're taking a live look over Fenton and Cary right now, and you can see it's pretty quiet out there. We're looking at some cooler temperatures compared to the last few days. We thank you for watching WRAL News, available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. Several young people are now in custody after a police chase that started in Garner and ended in southeast Raleigh. Garner police say it started at around 2:30 this morning. WRAL's Elizabeth Holmes shares how it all got started.
We now know that pursuit started when Garner police got a report that multiple vehicles were racing right here off of Benson Road and Evolve Drive. They said 2 vehicles were involved, and when they initiated their pursuit, they both took off. Now, they also said that multiple individuals were here on the scene, and they also started to run from police, but all of those individuals were safely detained. At this point, we don't know exactly how many people were involved here at this original scene. Now to the chase. We know that it ended in southeast Raleigh on Dacian Road. This is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker. You can see that a white vehicle was possibly involved. Police say that 2 people under the age of 18 got out of the car and tried to run from officers before they were detained. Police say that a 3rd vehicle that they believe was stolen was recovered from this investigation. We know at least 2 people under the age of 18 were taken into custody, but we're still working to learn exactly how many people were involved in all of this. Garner police say this is still an active investigation. In Garner, I'm Elizabeth Holmes, WRAL News.
And the breaking news tracker also captured video of this large police presence outside a business in Raleigh. Our crew saw 10 police cars outside the Woods Bar and Lounge on Rush Street. This was just after 2 this morning. There were also firefighters and an ambulance there. We have reached out to Raleigh police to learn more about what happened.
Minnesota lawmakers are one step closer to banning technology known as nudification. It's essentially a method of turning innocent images into graphic, pornographic graphic pornography using AI. Now, dozens of Minnesotans have had their harmless social media pictures turned into adult content, and they say it could potentially affect them for the rest of their lives. One woman says that finding her nudified photos made her physically ill, and it's still on her mind 2 years later.
This is widely available to happen to anyone. Anyone is a potential victim, and then it does follow you for the rest of your life.
It's like a shadow version of yourself out there doing things that never happened.
The consequences are so devastating that we're saying that this technology should not be accessible to any Minnesotan at all.
This is a slam dunk issue. Who wants this?
On a major concern, also guardrails or lack thereof when it comes to AI. Another state lawmaker says the aim is to adjust for technical skills to be added later and respect art and the First Amendment. The state house could vote as early as tomorrow on that.
UCLA Lady Bruins made history after dominating the South Carolina Gamecocks. This is the first women's NCAA championship in the UCLA's program history. The Lady Bruins maintained a lead the entire game. The final score was 79 Brews, 51 Gamecocks. Tonight, UConn and Michigan face off for the men's national championship. It marks the first meeting between UConn and Michigan in the NCAA tournament. UConn is trying to win 3 championships in 4 seasons. For Michigan, it's a chance to end a Big Ten title drought that dates back more than 2 decades. Tip-off is at 8:50 p.m.
Well, the Tampa Bay Rays returned to Tropicana Field today, and it's actually going to be the first time that they have been doing that since, I believe it's October 2024. And that is when the Hurricanes Milton blew through, you may recall, St. Petersburg, Florida. It left a massive opening in the roof. And today's homecoming is 561 days, 561 days, a long time in the making. And fans cannot wait to see that new facility. We're talking about $60 million in repairs that happen on schedule and on budget. The Rays take on the Chicago Cubs at 4, and the Rays are affiliated with the Durham Bulls. Capital Broadcasting owns the Durham Bulls and WRAL. Kat, my wife, she said, I want to get my car washed the last couple of days. I said, I would wait until maybe the pollen's gone. She did it, and guess what's on there right now?
Yeah.
More pollen.
Well, the wind did not help yesterday. All the kind of bells blew everywhere. But the good news is today it's not low, but it's lower.
Lower. Okay,
and we're going to take every step that we can take down in the pollen count after what we've endured the past couple of weeks. Tree pollen today no longer in the high category. We are now in the moderate category. We will take it. Grass pollen and weed pollen remain low. Oak, maple, pine, and birch are the primary tree pollens, and that now means pine pollen, the yellow stuff that you see everywhere, is in 3rd place. So that's no longer the most prevalent tree pollen type. Tree pollen usually peaks early April, so around now, and then declines toward the middle and end of the month. But this year, we had an early pollen season. It peaked at the end of March, and that means that we're starting to see the decline a little bit earlier. We'll continue to see the decline over the next 2 weeks, and then a heads up, grass pollen will come next. The WRAL gardens are beautiful, though. Today would be a great day to come out and visit, especially with the pollen count a little bit lower. It'll be in the upper 50s to mid 60s. The later you come in the afternoon, the warmer it will be. Partly cloudy and beautiful outside. The azaleas are doing phenomenal. A live look at Zebulon, the historic town hall. The grass, I'm sure, loved the bit of rain that we saw yesterday. 56 degrees right now with a northeast wind of 3 miles per hour. That's keeping things chilly for us. Mid 50s in the Triangle, 60 in South Hill and Clinton, and 61 degrees in Fayetteville. Taking a look at the radar, things are nice and quiet for us. I mean, there's really no systems coming our way anytime soon. The cold front has passed. The next big system is just going to be the cooler weather that follows behind our cold front. We do have some cloud cover, though, streaming in from the southwest, and that cloud cover will thicken up tonight. Cloud cover overnight, though, actually keeps temperatures from falling quite as much. So keep that in mind. It's actually kind of working in our favor tonight to see mostly cloudy skies. It'll be another cool day tomorrow. We'll start out in the 40s in the morning, so grab a jacket. Mid 60s tomorrow afternoon. And then here comes the coldest temperatures of all. 38 degrees tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. That is when you need to protect your plants, maybe cover them up, bring your pets inside. 63 the high Wednesday afternoon, though, so not a bad day, just a cold morning. morning. And then once we get to the end of the week, temperatures begin to rebound. We're right back in the mid 70s on Friday. It looks like a gorgeous Friday. Lows also climb back into the 50s. And just in time for the weekend, temperatures jump up into the upper 70s to lower 80s again. This is probably going to be our last week this cool for quite some time as we make it closer and closer to the summer months. And this is likely our last threat of a frost or freeze midweek. Notice, though, no rain chance all week long. We're going to talk more about that coming up.
All right, Kat, thank you. Coming up this evening at 4, lessons from the moon. Duke researchers share what we're expecting to learn from the Artemis 2 mission.
And then at 5, rail records. With NC by train seeing higher ridership every year, they're looking to grow, where service could be expanded.
And next at noon here, artificial color warning. Some labels that you could be misleading you. 5 on your side explains what could still be hiding in your food.
And caffeine confirmation. People who drink coffee or maybe tea may be glad to hear the results of a recent study. A neurologist highlights some of the findings about the effect on brain health. So many food labels have this, right? No artificial colors. Seems straightforward, but under a new FDA policy, that's not necessarily the case. Here's 5 on your side's Keely Arthur.
No artificial colors. The FDA is redefining what that means. Up until now, if it said it on the box, it meant there were no artificial colors in your food. But now that's changed a little.
The only colors now that count as artificial are this specific category called FD&C dyes, petroleum-based dyes like red 40, yellow 5, and blue 2. Any other sort of added color gets a pass.
Take titanium dioxide. It's synthetically produced and used to add whiteness or brightness to foods like candies and cheeses. And it's banned as a food additive in the European Union over toxicity concerns. Now, you could have that in a product labeled no artificial colors in the U.S., adding confusion for the average consumer.
So what does this mean for grocery shopping now? Well, I'll tell you tonight on WRAL News at 6 and break down how some states are creating stricter bans than what is set at the federal level. Keely Arthur, 5 on your side.
Or there's a new study showing that reputable health groups are unintentionally funding medical misinformation. Let me explain. Researchers at Yale University found health and government organizations accounted for more than 10% of ad revenue on websites promoting misinformation. Between 2021 and 24, millions of dollars in ad spending landed on unreliable sites, often accidentally. Groups say that's because automated programs can place credible ads next to harmful content.
The Trump administration is scaling back plans to dismantle the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, but the agency still may face some major cuts. Under the administration's new plan, more than 1,200 staffers will lose their jobs. The original plan was to shrink the agency from 1,700 workers to just 200. Despite the opposition, the CFBP is facing a funding crisis that may require them to cut staff after Congress slashed the agency's operational budget by a little less than half last year as a part of the president's funding bill.
Your time is 12:26 this afternoon. Money for schools. The Wake Board of Commissioners, they're going to hold a budget workshop this afternoon. So we're going to break down the role they could play in funding Wake County schools.
Plus, pushing the boundaries, how new soft robot muscles could revolutionize the way we use technology.
And we do have a look at your winning NC Education lottery numbers right here on your screen.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your #1 source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Happening today, leaders in Wake County are looking at how they will fund public schools. Wake County commissioners are holding a budget workshop this afternoon. WRAL's Alikat Labar shares how this is timely to the school district's budget proposal that's also happening tomorrow.
Yeah, we know the county and the school district are connected, and the county is a source of funding for the school district. So today we are expecting to see commissioners talk about county and school facility needs. Now, last month, Superintendent Robert Taylor told the school board he planned to cut millions of dollars in special education funding. He also planned to ask county commissioners for a $25 million funding increase. Teachers and parents protested these ideas outside of schools, and the school board also told Taylor they didn't support it. Taylor said he'd come back with solutions tomorrow. WRAL education reporter Emily Walkenhorst says today we're going to get a look at how likely the county is to support an increase in school funding.
They know Wake County Schools is going to ask for more money for facilities. They're already contemplating a potential bond referendum in November. And we'll get a lot more of an idea of what the appetite is for school funding specifically and for that bond referendum.
County commissioners, along with the state and the U.S. Department of Education, will determine how much money the school district gets. Now, tomorrow, Taylor is expected to present his budget proposal to the board. You can find more about it on WRAL's NC Capital section on WRAL.com. Reporting in Raleigh, Ali Kadlabar, WRAL News.
In Justin County, the Finance Corporation held a special meeting this morning, and they discussed funding for the new build at Clayton High School. They're considering a resolution to approve the plan to finance that project, and the county commissioners will authorize the execution and delivery of documents connected to that project. Some drivers will have to find an alternate route to their destination over the next 30 days. This morning, contractors for the NCDOT closed both directions of Forestville Road and Needham Road, and this is necessary so that teams can replace a large pipe there. Drivers are urged to use caution and slow down near the work zone and follow detour signs.
Construction for the next phase of the Complete 540 project gets underway tonight. I-87 south between Smithfield Road and Hodge Road will temporarily close during the overnight hours. Then on Wednesday, the overnight closures move to the northbound side. We spoke with drivers who have mixed feelings about the road work.
I think it's great for the economy and getting places quicker. I understand everything's growing, but they're tearing down a lot of nature.
Drivers should follow detours posted to get around the construction. The entire 540 expansion will connect to the Triangle Expressway to the I-40 interchange near Garner and Clayton.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, our NC Capitol team found out an influential Republican group plans to spend at least $71 million to get candidate Michael Whatley elected to the U.S. Senate. Here's what we know. As part of the broader effort by the Senate Leadership Fund, it plans to retain the GOP majority in the U.S. Senate. That's the plan. Now, this pledge comes less than a week after a Catawba College poll showed Democrat Roy Cooper with a 14-point lead over Whatley. Now, their race to replace Senator Tom Tillis was already expected to break records for political spending in North Carolina. Now, to give you some perspective, back in 2014, when Tom Tillis won that seat, defeating incumbent Kay Hagan, the campaigns, both campaigns and outside groups spent about $100 million. And at the time, that was a record for a non-presidential campaign.
Well, right now is the busiest time of year for ferry boat tour companies. But as fuel prices rise, owners are watching to see how much they can actually take of this. One boat cruise owner says the cost of fuel prices have jumped and added things up pretty quickly here for them. As of today, the average cost of diesel nationwide, $5.62. The owner of Crystal Coast Lady Cruises in North Carolina says his weekly fill-up for his ferries jumped nearly $4,000 in the past month.
It is starting to hurt us. We see it. We've done this before, and we've had this happen in the past, and we came through, stronger than ever. We are trying to keep the prices low as we are now. We don't want to add fuel surcharges, but we're going to keep an eye on it.
They have businesses to run, right? Well, with the busy season just beginning, he says they are absorbing the costs, at least for now.
In just over an hour, the Artemis II crew is scheduled to surpass the record for humans' farthest distance from the Earth. The previous record was set by Apollo 13 at 248,655 miles from Earth. Artemis II's lunar observation period is set to begin at 2:45 this afternoon. They'll be observing the moon for 6.5 hours. NASA predicts that they'll lose communication with the crew for about 40 minutes starting at 6:44 as they head behind the moon. The 10-day mission is expected to end on Friday.
Slowing cognitive decline. Morning boost, how one study shows that the positives of caffeine on your brain in your morning cup of joe.
Plus, exit stage left. A pair of sponsors pull out of a popular music festival across the pond. The reason for their abrupt withdrawal. And for news, traffic, and the weather of the day, make sure to download the WRAL News app. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're taking a live look at Lake Gaston right now, and what a gorgeous view that is. I know that area was really busy yesterday on Easter Sunday. We thank you for watching WRAL News, available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
So it turns out fewer children are being poisoned by exposure from cigarettes and other traditional tobacco products. However, that news isn't good. All of it, anyway. A new study reveals that vaping has replaced cigarettes as the leading cause of nicotine poisoning among children. Researchers looked at more than 92,000 Poison Control Center reports, and it showed exposure dropped more than 40% between 2016 and 23, whereas children under the age of 6 saw a significant increase in vaping health risks. Researchers point to children watching grown-ups use vapes and then wanting to mimic them. The study underscores the need for safety regulations at the device level. Right now, the legal age to buy tobacco products in our state is 18. In fact, the WRAL documentary team went undercover last year. They went to a dozen stores in Wake County to see if they would ID a young person. See what we learned by watching Gen V teen vaping in North Carolina on WRAL.com and the WRAL YouTube channel.
Okay, we have some good news now for coffee and tea drinkers. A recent study suggests that caffeine in both beverages could reduce your risk for dementia. Researchers found that those who drank 2 to 3 cups of caffeinated coffee or tea per day saw a lower risk for developing dementia. One neurologist says that based on the findings, it's not the actual coffee or tea that seems to be offering the benefit, but the caffeine in them. The reason is unclear, but he offered an explanation for the current data and what it suggests.
Caffeine might reduce the accumulation of A-beta, which is a toxic protein that can be found in the plaques that are associated with Alzheimer's disease. There are also chemical effects of caffeine that may be neuroprotective.
This study was in line with previous studies that have shown a reduction in dementia risk and cognitive decline risk. Experts say it is still important to take other measures to protect your brain health, such as eating a healthy diet, regularly exercising, and maintaining high levels of cognitive engagement.
Certainly important things to do. We're talking about revolutionary technology. Artificial intelligence seems to dominate weekly headlines. How experts are developing what's called soft muscles for robots to take care of hard tasks.
Plus, a tentative deal, the agreement in Hollywood between writers and companies over AI, what this means for your favorite shows.
Hollywood writers have reached an agreement after nearly 3 weeks of negotiating with producers. Top concerns of the writers were wage increases, better health care, and AI protection plans. The Writers Guild of America signed a 4-year contract instead of the usual 3, and the agreement must be reviewed by the Guild's board to make this official. Sponsors of a major music festival in the UK, well, they're pulling out after American rapper Ye was announced as this year's headliner. Pepsi and the company that owns popular liquor brands such as Johnnie Walker and Captain Morgan, they confirmed they are no longer sponsoring the July event. The Wireless Festival is a major rap and hip hop event in the UK. It draws tens of thousands of people every single year. Businesses and lawmakers addressed concerns for Kanye West because of his previous anti-Semitic remarks in celebration of Nazism.
National Robotics Week wraps up this Sunday, and it's a time to raise awareness about robotic advancements and help inspire future generations to pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, and math. Sue Guzman takes a closer look at how researchers are building a new line of strong robots with soft muscles.
With National Robotics Week lasting through April 12th, engineers from around the country are applauding advances in technology. But while inventions have come so far as different kinds of robots work across a variety of industries, teams at Arizona State University are hoping to keep pushing the boundaries with their new soft robot muscles.
These muscles are, compared to human muscles, about 10 times stronger.
Analysts say many traditional robots today rely on metal and motorized parts, which can make them heavy and dangerous if they break down or go on the fritz while being worn or worked alongside of.
They have rigid, very stiff joints that can be quite dangerous to be around, or just are only really useful in very controlled environments like in factories.
To make robots lighter, teams at ASU say theirs don't require motorization.
Our muscles are powered by pressurized fluid, so that could be pneumatics, hydraulics, or even boiling liquid, which produces a gas, and that can cause pressure inside our muscle, which will expand, and that's where our pressure source comes from.
They're also made with soft moldable materials instead of metal cables and gears.
So they can conform to bodies, and they are inherently safe because they're soft. So there's no risk of pinching.
Researchers say stronger and more flexible technology can help improve and expand robotic functions in extremely hot temperatures and underwater.
And that was Sue Guzman reporting. And turning to the forecast now with meteorologist Kat Campbell. Kat, we are really experiencing some dry conditions, especially over the last week where it's just hot and no rain.
I know. And you know what? This week looks even worse in terms of rainfall potential. I mean, we've got nothing, not even a 20% chance for rain at any point over the next week. This statewide burn ban continues. So burning is banned all across North Carolina until we see significant rain. We don't have any rain in the forecast this week. That means the burn ban is going to continue for at least another week. And check this out. I mean, this really tells the story. When you look at the forecast rain over the next week, you can see just the rain hole that we are in all across North Carolina into much of the southeast. The bulk of the rain is going to be north and west of here up into the Midwest and the southern plains. That also means if you have started your gardening and your planting that you are going to need to do some watering all throughout the week, especially if you're just starting with seeds. Those seeds are going to need water. So get the sprinklers going throughout the week. Just remember, it is going to be cool toward the middle of the week. So you may have to do some covering of your plants as we get into tomorrow night. Behind our cold front, things are much cooler today. We've got a wind out of the northwest. It's a bit breezy at times and some clouds still streaming in from the southwest, but the cool down will be brief. It's probably going to be our last week that feels like this for quite some time, with highs in the 60s for a stretch of a week. So if you're a fan of this, enjoy it. Through midweek, we've got some cooler air in place across the northeast and into the mid-Atlantic, but we start to see the jet stream lift to the north by the end of the work week, and that's what's going to usher in some warmer weather. So the next 3 days feature highs in the 60s. Friday, 75 degrees. I mean, just a picture perfect Friday. And then Saturday, we are up near 80 degrees once again. But we've got to get through these chilly mornings. You're going to want to have your jacket on hand for the next several mornings. You may not need it all day, but you'll want to dress in layers. 38 degrees Wednesday morning. That is when we've got the threat of a frost. Maybe a light freeze in our northern counties, but this is not a hard freeze for anyone. And then temperatures rebound by the weekend. A live look at Southern Pines, a good amount of upper level cloud cover. The Longleaf Golf and Family Club, pretty quiet for now. Some nice golf weather this upcoming weekend, though. If you're headed out for a dog walk, temperatures reach the mid-60s this afternoon. And as we head into tonight, we'll dip down into the 50s, eventually 40s by tomorrow morning. Nothing for rain chances all week long for us. A cooler week, but still pretty nice outside. Once we get to the weekend, if you're a fan of the warmer temperatures, kind of like what we had last week, they're coming back. High temperatures are going to be back near 80 both Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, that's certainly spring. Thank you, Kat.
So we're talking about accessible egg hunts, the technical innovations allowing children to take part of this Easter tradition, and why one group experienced double the fun. As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines that we're following today. Research Triangle Academy was cleared of any threat just after 11 this morning, and this came after the school received a bomb threat leading to the campus being evacuated. Durham police and the SBI searched the school with the help of a bomb-sniffing canine, but no suspicious devices or suspects were found.
A City of Raleigh employee will be in court this afternoon for charges related to a shooting yesterday. 48-year-old Magda Holloway faces 3 charges, including assault with a deadly weapon causing serious injury. The shooting happened just before 1 yesterday afternoon in Wake Forest. Holloway was and has been held, and she was held an engineer position in Wake Forest, Charlotte, and just started in Raleigh in January. She has no prior criminal record and is being held on no bond.
Miss North Carolina 2024 Carrie Everett died at the age of just 22. Her family confirmed this morning that she died yesterday surrounded by loved ones after a courageous battle with a rare and aggressive gastric cancer. The Seattle native was crowned in June 2024 during her sophomore year at NCCU and had dreams of becoming a gospel singer. And her family says memorial services will be shared at a later time. They're asking for continued prayers right now.
Well, if your child is looking for some new wheels, this contest could be just what they need. We told you about how Safe Routes to School Wake County is inviting middle schoolers to create a pedestrian safety posters for the Safety is No Accident contest. Now the deadline is just days away, and while every submission gets a prize, the grand prize is a free bike, and their poster will be displayed across Wake County. The last day to submit designs is April 11th.
Well, millions of children searched for eggs this weekend, but this hunt was kind of different.
Search and find what you're looking for. Hello.
So you hear that beeping right there? That beeping egg hunt, it brought 100 visually impaired children over to the Rose Bowl Stadium in California, and the eggs beeped and chirped so that these children could find them simply by the sound and touch.
They were, very happy to be in a football field in an iconic stadium. And not only that, but they were able to participate in a tradition that is offered to many kids who are sighted, but they had special eggs that they were able to locate.
Oof, to our producer, you got to be careful putting these tearjerkers at the end of the show. That is just beautiful to see this. And there were more than 200 beeping eggs and 300 extra large metallic eggs for children with low vision. You know what? I think a lot of parents all the time, we got to do the Easter egg hunt this year. But it's like, that may be something taking for granted. Look at this. They get to experience
and
this.
I love just being inclusive and finding ways for all children to be involved in all of the fun holiday traditions.
Love it.
All right, here's another story that'll put a smile on your face. Our pet of the day from Per Partners hopes that you will make his wish come true by giving him a loving home. Meet Aladdin. He's super sweet, a super sweet kitty who loves to get pets and give head bumps. Aladdin is a very easygoing cat that won't require much to be happy. A quiet place to nap, regular meals and treats, and a spot by the window where he can watch the world go by. He has done fine with both cats and dogs, but he would probably prefer a home without dogs. You can find more about Aladdin and other cats for adoption at perpartners.org.
Well, coming up this afternoon at 4 o'clock, moon mission update. We're going to check in on the 4 astronauts aboard the Orion spacecraft during their lunar observation period.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL. Your next local news update comes in about 30 minutes.
And as always, you can get your breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Hope you have a blessed day today.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air channel 34 and Spectrum channel 1257.